Hi, good afternoon, Jacques. Good afternoon, Rassie. Hope you guys are well. Just shock. Just the news. Any news on Peter Toy? We understand he had a disciplinary hearing this morning. He's obviously not in the 23. Could you tell us any news about that? Thanks.
Mobeen, yeah, no, his hearing is only tomorrow morning, and it's quite normal because sometimes the judges and stuff are all over, so it might be from Australia. So his hearing is only tomorrow morning.
Thanks.
Strako, we saw a new dimension in the Boss game plan as his side was evidently more expansive against France. Is this something that we should be expecting going forward, a variety, especially against a flashy Italian side?
Yeah, I think yes, we always try and kind of develop our game plan, and I guess you can only play to what the opposition give you. So we thought that it was a good strategy against. It would have been a good strategy against France, you know, and there was some opportunity for us in the front line, and we took that. And we will have to see against Italy. You know, they're a well-organized side, and we will have to have a look and see where do they give us space, and hopefully if the weather plays with it, we can have a nice game again.
Thanks, Hi, Jacques. Rassie, I guess you're there for reasons also to do with tweeting. Can we address that? Your sort of what's the right phrase? Your criticism of some decisions. Are you not worried that you're going to be landing in hot water with World Rugby yet again?
No, Craig. Yeah, no, I'm actually here for more than just that. But you're welcome to ask that.
Let's get the elephant out the room then.
Yeah, of course, no problem. No, Craig, I think if you mind, I'd spending a minute or so on this. I think we've always at the thing where we hashtag stronger together, and I'm talking about South Africans, and I know when we get media out there, it's all over the world, and we've always been really close to our fans. So for us, the fact that when something goes wrong on the field, and I'm sure people form their own opinions, that I understand, but I think if you go and listen to the tweets, it's actually for South African supporters to understand that, listen here, there's something that some guys are doing really well, which we either don't understand, maybe a player on the opposition side. Cheslin's, obviously Cheslin can't go in that high. If he's not going to tackle the guy back, he'll have to go lower. And I think if you go and read the tweets, I think people immediately adjust something to the narrative they want to put out there. So I think, even in tweets where we said, with the TMO apparently not being available, we said, I don't believe Wayne Barnes will let that go and just say, listen, the TMO is not available. I just can't believe that from Wayne Barnes. And that's why we say we have no qualms with that try. So that is for South African people to share with them that, listen here, when we pass a pass of 10 meters, it's an optical illusion. It looks forward, and then a short pass of the same thing doesn't. And if we don't learn from those things and get those things right, it will never change. So, it is. I understand, but again, I don't tag people. I don't say it's the referees. I've never said something like that. I'm saying these are the things we must fix. And if somebody don't want to follow that, unfollow me or mute me, but surely there's South African supporters that would like to know where we're going and where we're getting it right and where we're getting it wrong. If it is the way we communicate, the way we read the game, the way we do our actions when we fall on the wrong side, those are things that we need to fix. So no, it's not having a go at the referee, because if that was having a go at the referee, I don't think Wayne Barnes will make all of those bad decisions. I mean, he's the number one world in the referee. He's more than 100 test matches. It's obviously something on our side that we have to fix. And, again, I think South African supporters would like to understand that. And then if people put a narrative to that, that I can't control, unfortunately.
Hi, gents. Hope you're well. Just back on selection matters, Jacques. I suppose I'm not taking anything away of how well Lewitt and Sous and Eben have gone this past season, but it's quite a nice position actually to be able to pick the top URC side in South Africa's established lock combination, for a test of this magnitude. It's obviously a real bonus that they have that rapport, at franchise level as well.
Yes, and definitely, and that came actually up in the selection meeting when we discussed it, because obviously we felt a guy like Eben has served us in all the test matches up to now, so a purely rotational decision there, and also Salmaan has been training well, and he deserves an opportunity and a chance, and but we could have done it in a way, like I discussed last week, where we only put Salmaan in and maybe playing with Sous, or only put Marvin in and playing with Eben. But we felt that combination at URC level gave us the opportunity to start with both of them. And the nice thing is you still have Sous there, or Franco Mostert there playing at 7, and then Eben that can come off the bench. So yeah, I guess you right in that we are fortunate in terms of that.
Hi, good morning from Sky Sports Italia. Just a question from me to Rassie Erasmus. 10 months away from the Rugby World Cup, where do you think South Africa is at the moment, considering that you are missing a couple of key players? And okay, you've lost 2 matches against Ireland and France, but they were very narrow. So in the final score, where do you think you are 10 months away? Thank you.
Yeah, fine.
Yeah, nice to meet you and welcome you in our press conference. Now, the first time we've spoken. Look, winning, South Africans love winning, and we fully take it on the chin when we lose, and I mean, we get it when people get upset. But when we analyze opposition teams and we see this French team is really building up really well towards the World Cup, and we see Italy is ticking a few boxes, beating Wales, beating Australia, coming close, and even when they were down to 13 men versus Ireland early in the Six Nations. If you look at it non-emotional, you try and see, are you getting solutions? Are you getting answers? I don't want to say we're always learning. People get tired if you say you're learning. But we certainly know, if we get France in a quarterfinal, that game we thought could have gone either way, with the red cards and everything that was involved there. It added some spice into the game. It made the game interesting. The crowd was immense. The pressure was fantastic. Players learned to kick under pressure, where the previous 2 weeks they wouldn't have had that experience, and they can bottle that experience and take it to the World Cup now. So there's a lot of, obviously, losing 2 games in a row is not great. But I think the answers that we got from some players, and then knowing what can we do in our pool game against the Irish, who's hot at this stage, and was the same in 2018. They were really hot. I think they were secondly ranked. And then the French or All Blacks, if we get out of our pool, we will face. And we play the All Blacks regularly. And France, we played now in a cauldron, which was really intimidating. And the boys handled themselves fairly well. So I think we're sitting, in our supporters' views, losing is bad, and in our view, it's bad. But there's some light at the end of the tunnel if we look towards next year.
Jan? Thank you, Zina. Thank you, Rassie. Thank you, Jacques. My question is for Jacques. Jacques, obviously, before the team announcement, there were questions around Malcolm Marx's fitness, Cheslin's injury. Can you give us clarity around those and how serious they were, or are they still doubtful?
Yeah, Cheslin was HIA, so he just went through the normal protocol, but he's cleared. And Malcolm had a little bit of a knee, but he trained the whole session yesterday. So no, he's good to go.
Thanks, Tina. Hi guys. Just to Jacques, how close would you say Manie Libbok is to starting at 10? And for Rassie, I just wanted to ask you your thoughts on Lukhanyo being nominated for World Player of the Year.
In terms of Manie, if I can put it like that, 1 injury away. If you think about it, if he's our backup 10 currently, so yeah, I guess he's really close. And like I said last week, the reason why we selected him is he's training well. He's now, I think, it's now the 4th or the 5th week that he's been with us, so he's comfortable in the system and growing within our environment. So yeah, I think he's slotting in nicely.
Lukhanyo, obviously we're missing out on a few players currently, but I don't want to mention that because it's going to sound like excuses, and every other team has also injuries, and that's this time of year for the Southern Hemisphere teams. We do have a lot of injuries, but you know, he's just a really special player. So no, I'm not going to talk long about it, but the first time me and Jacques saw him is when we coached Porter at club trials. And this guy just stood out. I think he was playing with a pair of tackies. I don't think he had boots on. And we found the agent from there and said, listen, you must look at this guy. He's not going to get the exposure. And then from, I think, moving Kings and all over the place, he pushed right through to now being nominated as one of the World Players of the Year. It's a pity he couldn't showcase now at the end of the year now what he can do to be fresh in the guys who ever decide who is the Player of the Year's minds, but we're very proud of him, and especially because he came from, I wouldn't say poor background or disadvantaged. I think he had to fight really hard just to get into teams and to proper systems, and then on the field he's just a fantastic player.
Hi guys, hi Jacques and Rassie. Jacques, just quickly on the centre combination of Damian de Allende moving to outside, and you brought under Esterhuizen in there and Jesse Kiel not in the mix. And then Rassie, for you as a guy who could play all three loose forward positions, having Franco Mostert there as a 7, and you've got Evan Roos as a impact off the bench. Just how do you see that balance of the loose trio starting and off the bench? Thanks.
Yeah, in terms of Andre, yes, I thought Jesse did well, but I think Rassie mentioned it early on. You know, some of our players won't be available against England because it's out of the test match window, and Andre is one of them. So, and he's been with us now for the whole year, and he's been training well, and he deserves a chance. You know, and we always earmark this game if there wasn't injuries. To give him a proper go, and yes, I think we think the combination with Andre and Damian is a great combination, especially when you face a side like Italy. But certainly Jesse was exceptional, I think, in the last 2 games that he played for us. So yeah, looking forward to seeing the combination of those 2 guys together.
Yeah. So yeah, just on the loose forwards, just adding to what Jacques saying is I think the things that we're learning now is that, not learning, people like that word, that we're getting answers or solutions on it. You know, we now know about the kickers, who can kick and who can handle pressure like that. We now know if Lukanju is injured, we know Jesse was really to do well against Ireland and he was really proper again. And now we want to make sure that a guy like Damian, which has played a lot of outside centre for us, now slots in, starts a game against a quality team like Italy, beat Australia last week. So, you know, again, there we're going to get some answers. And then on the loose forwards, you know, I must actually tell you, Mani was one of the guys who was really creative. He was sitting next to us on the bench and making sure when we were 14 men and 13 men, and then we took Kwacha off, and you know, Dion went on and he got a yellow card, and we really had to play around to try and get lineouts when we were only 13 men. And then to have a guy like Sous who can actually move to 7 flank or 5 lock. So somewhere in the game, it will probably end up with Eben and Sous at 5 lock, and probably you know, Kwacha onto flank, and probably Evan in the place of Jasper. It will probably pan out something like that, because we know we'll have to need that kind of impact against Italy, the way they've just been growing as a team.
I think this game for the Boks in particular, when you look at the past 2 weeks, there's been a very significant upward curve in how the team has played, but it hasn't necessarily reflected in the results. So how does that now counterbalance the need to perform well and also win at the same time against what looks like a very dangerous team?
Yes, I think it's a very important game for us. We need to get momentum back. You know, we don't want to lose, and we want to build on the stuff that we started a week before we played Ireland in the camp we had in Stellenbosch. So now it's a big game for us in terms of that. So we don't want to build. Build our game, build everything, but then almost go a step back again. So it's important for us to keep the energy, but to get a result.
And then when you look ahead, no, not to look ahead in particular, because you've also got the England game next week, and it's actually outside of the international window. You also need to have a few questions, a few answers from some of the players who may not be available for next week's game. In next week's game, and the fact that some of them, like Andre, for example, has been part of the camp and actually hasn't been able to get game time.
Yes, 100%. So yeah, there's I think 5 players in our group currently who's here with us who won't be eligible. All the French and the English-based players, they won't be eligible for next week. So yeah, so that's their last opportunity now. And then next year it's World Cup. It's a World Cup year. So yeah, this is probably the last opportunity they will have. But we will then obviously draft in players who's currently with the SA side, who will come and join us for that game.
Do you have an idea of which players from SA? Because I mean, like Trevor, for example, has been part of the group, but hasn't played this week. So do you have an idea of which SA players will be drafted into the box squad for next week?
It all depends on who gets injured on Thursday and who gets injured and how well the guys play on Saturday. Just briefly to answer you, if you just think about it, at prop, Nche, who plays very well at the SA side. There's 3 hookers there, and we've given Dweba, he's on standby for us if we do get another injury. We have the other 2 props who played there. At the lock, we've now given Marvin Orie, we're giving him a proper start to run the lineouts for him, so playing 7 if we get it. So there's a lot of thinking behind it when we plan the games. Again, Salmaan starting the proper test match at 4 lock where he's comfortable with. Having Ivan Roos now in the mix, having Jasper back, rotating the scrum halves, all 3 got proper game time. And then a guy like Grant Williams was awesome when he came on, so he'll probably come into the mix if Kobus Reinach goes out. Sasha has been with us, Mane is now with us, Frans Steyn has played for us, Andre Pollard has played for us. At inside centre, Andre Pollard can play 12, Damian de Allende can play 12, Damian Willemse can play 12. We're now seeing how well Damian de Allende will start at 13, with Jesse doing well. We've tested about 4 different wings, 5 Mopimpi is not even in the mix this weekend. And then at fullback, we had Willie, we had Damian Willemse. So I think we are really, really set up, if the scores go our way, that we can go into the new year knowing that there's a bunch of players that really can do it at test level or not do it at test level.
How important does Thursday's game become now from this perspective? Because as you just explained that it will provide answers for particular players. When you look at the incremental improvements made by the SA team last week, they just speak to us about the importance of what that game will feed into for next week's game against England.
Yeah, just because it's a thing linking up with Jacques' side. I think the thing for us was, we know the weather in Ireland, and we know the first half was a 20-point wind, 20-point rain. We know that, and for guys who hasn't played there, the pressure of turning around from 28 points. And I think the guys just before halftime, they scored a try. And it's a bunch of youngsters that was thrown next to 1 or 2 really experienced guys. But what we look for in a game like that is for guys to really put up their hand and say, even though the team is not maybe winning, I'm ready to play Springboks. So the same with the Bristol match. I think it's going to be an open running game depending on the weather. But there was a few, I can say it clearly now. Grant Williams was the guy who put up his hand and said, hey, I'm ready to play up there. And we don't want to single out guys because we're not the whole selection committee here. Well, that's what we want from the guys who's playing in that SA.